Hello and welcome back. So I have returned in my prophecy. I did have a idea that I did want to try out, and also I did modify the fit for the ship quite a bit. But first I have to show you the fit. Now, as the main weapons, I do have missile launchers instead of lasers, because missile launchers do not use the capacitor and they use less power grid. In the medium slots, as you will see later, I have 3 group armor repairers that are going to be used as a way to repair my armor if it takes any damage. Now, this is an idea that I did get in one of the last videos, and also I was very curious to see how this will work on a solo PvE ship. Now, all of these 3 modules will use fuel, and you should have a decent amount of fuel in the cargo hold if you want to have these 3 modules working. Now, that's a good thing because they don't eat the capacitor, they will eat fuel, and that way you are going to save your capacitor for something else. As the main primary weapons, I do have drones, 5 Mark 7 Valkyries, and of course I do have 5 Mark 7 infiltrators in the cargo hold. I do have a C-type medium micro drive in the low slot, and also I do have I think it is a faction medium capacitor battery, and now the other 3 modules are going to be 2 damage amplifiers and 1 omnidirectional tracking link that will further improve drone parameters and drone performance. So, a very, should I say, exotic fit. Now I am very curious to see how it will work in a simulated environment, and after that I will be going and I'll be testing this fit out in actual combat. Now all modules are active, and well, let's see at the ship specs. 613 DPS, which is quite an improvement from the 580 DPS that I did have last time. 18 seconds capacitor time is not correct because I have infinite capacitor due to the battery. And of course I do have 99 cycles on each of these 3 group armor repairs, which is fantastic. Well then, time to jump into live combat and time to see how the ship will perform in such a environment. So I do use the Valkyries because they're fast, they are also cheap, and they do very good damage on armors and hulls. I will use the infiltrators only on ships that have shields, that have very tanky shields, because the infiltrators do EM damage and they are excellent at destroying shields. Now, this is a, I think, Galante tier 6 storyline mission or a tier 7 storyline mission, and let's see how the ship will do. Now, so far the damage output on the drones is brutal. The drones are taking apart these cruisers, destroyers and frigates very quickly, and honestly I can't wait to get my hands on the faction drones. The faction drones are going to be even more lethal than the Mark 7s. And of course, very soon I think people will start to manufacture the Mark 9 drones, and I'll be buying those as well. So, in order to test out the group armor repair performance, I need to get my armor damaged. That means I do have to approach these enemy ships in close quarter combat. Now my maximum control range for the drones is 59 kilometers, which is quite a reduction from the 78 that I do have on my Covertops arbitrator, but that is mostly because of the rigs. I do have very expensive rigs on my Covertops ship, which I do plan to put in my prophecy. Well, as you can see, the drones are absolutely shredding everything to pieces, which is kind of surprising for me, but at the same time that is what I did expect from 5 drones. And let's see, well, the shield is also holding out quite decently. The ship has twice the shield from the arbitrator Covertops, twice the amount. That means twice the time needed for those ships to destroy my shield, which is good. That means I can further rely on the shield to absorb as much damage as it can. 4 enemy ships are left on the field, and after this I think it's going to be one more wave, and the enemy ship should be close to my ship. Now this ship, for example, this ship is a lot tankier than the cruisers, because after all it is classified as a battlecruiser, and they are usually a lot more tankier, but they're also usually a lot slower. The ship's maximum speed is at around 1.1 km per second, which is not slow. It could be faster. And I still kind of use a very similar tactic to the tactic that I did use in my cover-top ship. With the only difference here, I actually can afford to take hits, because I do have a way to repair my armor. Well, I have to say, so far this ship is performing quite well. I do like this fit. It works actually quite well for a tier 6 or tier 7 storyline. Will be interesting to see how it will perform on a tier 8 storyline. Those are going to be fun. And of course, at the moment in the test server, I will also try out a couple of the storylines, because we also are getting new modules. The bubbles are coming, and the warp scrambler is also coming. And that means most of these enemy ships are going to be equipped with a scrambler, and that's going to be a problem, because then my tactic will be even more crucial. If you don't have a very tanky ship, then drones are going to be the best weapon of choice for storyline missions, due to the mechanics that they use, and of course due to the mechanics that is applied to the drones. Well, 7 more ships are left in the field. I will proceed to approach the one that's furthest away from me. So far I didn't have to use the... There we go, well, now I have to use them. My armor has been damaged. And of course you can adjust how many of these group repairs you want to be active. If it's very minor damage, you can use 1. If it's medium, moderate damage, then you can use 2. However, if there is a lot of incoming damage, then you can use 3. There they have a 18-second cycle. That is quite a lengthy cycle, but they're used as a passive way to repair your armor, because I still do want to use the ship in a similar way as I use my cover-top's arbitrator, and that is to keep the enemy ships at, let's say, 58-59 kilometers, and if needed to repair the armor. Well, in this case the ship is holding out quite well. The armor is also holding out quite well. The capacitor is in fantastic shape. As you can see, I do have 99 plus cycles on all 3 of these weapons. I mean all 3 of these group armor repairers. That is because I do have enough fuel for all 3 of them to be working at the same time. Of course, fuel usage is going to be very high with 3 of these modules, but the ship has a decent cargo hold and it can fit a lot of fuel. Now, as fuel, well, you can use ozone, you can use heavy water, you can use plasmids. All of these items are good fuel source for these modules. In my case, I have all 3 of these items in my cargo hold. It is also good to note that at the moment they only use the heavy water as a source of fuel. After I run out of heavy water, they will be using the other fuel sources that I have in my cargo hold, which is very interesting. Well, my armor has been fully repaired, and of course the ship has been doing very good damage on the enemies. And finally I can also use my primary weapons, the missile launchers, that are also doing decent amount of damage. It would be very interesting to fit rapid missile launchers in the ship. I think they would work even better, but for that I think I'd have to have at least 1 armor repairer. Now, one unique feature for this ship is that it does have a bonus per level on resistances, on armor, on all resistances, that makes this ship by default tanky, which is an excellent choice for encounters, for storylines, and overall, even for PvP, this ship can be very good. And again, the damage on the armor of this ship looks very good actually. I do like the damage models. I think they are well designed, but I also have to admit the damage that's displayed on the armor of this ship does not correspond with the amount of armor that I have left. But I guess that's okay for now. I am sure the developers will fix that. Well, the next ship was shot down. Now I do have three of these elite ships running around. That means I do have to make them my primary target. And well, I did survive being shot at by all of these 5 elite ships that it spawned in, and they barely scratched the surface of my armor. Now, of course, I do have the modules active, 2 of them to be exact, because at the moment I don't need to enable 3. I might enable 3 because I do take hits from at least 16 enemy ships. And well, very surprising, the armor is stable with this usage, with this range, and with this tactic, which means this ship is one step closer to be my primary ship for storyline missions. Now, there are some things about this ship that I, of course, don't like. One of them is the warp speed, 2.7 AUs per second. That is quite slow compared to the 4 AUs per second that is seen on the arbitrator cover tops. But this ship can have around the same range, it can even have greater range. Those things are making this ship a very good choice for storylines, and I think very soon I'll make the Prophecy my primary PvE ship, while I'll reserve the special place for PvP for the cover tops arbitrator. That ship is very fast, that ship also has decent amount of DPS, and it does have fantastic range. That will be improved further on, of course. Well, let's focus on the next elite Thorax. Now, after that ship goes down, I'll have to destroy 13 more enemy ships. Okay, that's very nice. So far, the fuel sources are holding out quite well. Still, I have above 99 cycles on all three group armor repairs. That is excellent. That is actually excellent, because it means that I can use the current amount of fuel for a scenario like this without worrying to run out of fuel. And in this case, you have to be careful about the fuel source and how much fuel you still have left in the cargo hold. With 3 of these fuel-hungry modules, the fuel will run out very quickly. So make sure to bring a decent amount of fuel, and I suggest at least 50% of your cargo hold to be with fuel, just to be safe. I think I did start to fly with around 38-39% cargo hold was only fuel. So in my case that was enough to supply the modules with fuel. Okay, well, 10 ships are left. This ship does destroy enemy ships a lot quicker than the cover tops arbitrator, which is a good thing. The capacitor battery is ensuring that I have the necessary capacitor for the MVD, for all of the other modules as well. That makes the ship cap stable. I have no idea why it said 18 seconds cap stability, but okay. I guess that needs to be worked on a little bit. Okay, let's see. Now I did approach 3 of these ships. They are not doing any damage to me, which is weird. I think they don't have enough range. for some reason they are not hitting me, which is very odd. That is very odd. When I was in my Cortops arbitrator, they were hitting me from this distance. But for some reason they cannot seem to damage this ship. Well, I am not going to complain. That means less repairing and more damage efficiency. The next target will be that destroyer. After that I'll be focusing on the next destroyer that's pretty close actually. They're actually very close to me. Okay, well, let's broadside to broadside now. Well, this is not a battleship, but broadsides will still work on battlecruisers, I think. Okay, that missile was a very nice hit. And the last cruiser of this wave, a Celestis, why not? Those ships are actually, they're going to be very useful once we get dampeners in the game. Well, so far I am quite satisfied with the performance of the ship. Okay, I wish that they were just a little bit faster, nothing more. The speed is one of the preventing things. Let's see, okay, 28 enemy ships. Okay, well, this is going to be fun. Let me find the elite ships first. They have to be my primary target always. Okay, that's 2 of them. I did lock one normal ship by accident. There should be at least 5 of these elite ships. Okay, there is one more. Okay, I will approach. Let's see, there is one more. Okay, that's 4. 2 more are missing. Okay, let's see, there are 5 of these elite ships. I will approach one of them and, well, I'll start to engage these ships. Now my shield is, I think, down. That's okay. I have still 99 plus cycles on all 3 of the group armor repairers. Okay, well, the primary target will be that Algos, because it was the closest ship, I think. After that I'll make, I think, the other Algos my primary ship. Now I will approach the Thorax just to see if I can withstand the incoming damage, which I think I can. So far the ship did perform just as I have expected it to perform. And what's also interesting, I think this fit can also be used in a fleet that focuses on armor repair and DPS. This kind of does work the best as a fleet fit, because armor is one of the things that these ships are excellent at. So in a fleet, I think if you have 15 of those with this fit that can armor up each other, that will be very interesting to see how it will work. Okay, the Thorax is now the primary target. Well, the Thorax was the primary target for some time now. It was destroyed. Now the next ship will be that Algos, and after that I think I'll approach the next Thorax. Well, they got close, but it's not a big problem. I can withstand all incoming firepower from these ships. That ship got very close to me. And now the pilot of that ship will pay with his ship and his crew. Okay, let's see, the next target is going to be that frigate. That's also getting too close, but still not too close to cause any major harm to me. Let's see, I have a bomber left. There is again another Thorax left. Okay, that needs to be focused down. Okay, that frigate has been destroyed. That's excellent. My armor has been fully repaired. Let's approach the Thorax. I didn't even notice that I did go over 100 kilometers away from those enemy ships. That's my bad, my apologies. Now I'll quickly reapproach them. Okay, now I will drop drones on on the bomber. After that, let's see, I think I'll also focus down the other frigates because they're also close. After that, I'll focus the thorax because it is the furthest away ship that's currently locked on. I think those frigates are going to be popped very quickly, so they're not a threat at the moment. Now keep in mind, in the next major update of the game, most of the ships are going to be equipped with a scrambler, so getting too close to these ships is going to be not a thing that I would recommend to do, because they can scramble your ship, which is something that I did read that people were talking about, so I will actually test that out. I'm very curious to see if they can do that. And keep in mind, a scrambler also disables your MVD, which in return will reduce the speed of your ship. And that can be a problem in a situation like this. In that case, you have to focus down the ships that have scramblers on. Usually those are the frigates, the destroyers, and in some cases the cruisers. And I can tell you, that will be very fun to counter. Well, my armor is at 98%, which is good. 97%. It will be repaired in 2 cycles. There we go, it's repaired. The next primary is that thorax. After that, I'll be switching the primary to, I think, to one of the destroyers. The DPS on those drones is very good, and of course, since those are explosive drones, they are going to be absolutely shredding armors and hulls. That means these ships will have a very, very bad day once they start to take armor and hull damage from these drones. Well, my armor is also taking damage, but it will be quickly repaired, as you can see. These are only Mark 7 armor group repairers. They're still doing a good job, but once I do find the faction ones, I'll definitely switch to the faction ones because they're more powerful, and of course they repair more than the current ones that I have installed. Okay, the elite thorax has been eliminated. Now I'll jump on the next target. In this case it is that destroyer. After that it will be the next thorax. After the thorax, the next thorax. And I'll keep up this until all of these ships are destroyed. My armor did fall to 81%, but it will be quickly repaired, very quickly repaired actually. Which means at the moment this fit works, and I am quite surprised that it actually works. I did expect to run out of fuel very quickly, but I didn't, which did surprise me. But that's okay, I guess. That thorax is now going down. Now this makes me curious about other future potential fits with battleships. For example, I can make some of the battleships have very decent tank with a similar fit like this. And honestly, I am very curious to see how that will work. Speaking of battleships, the first one that I will get is the Dominic's. That ship is excellent for the purposes that I have in mind. After that, I'll most likely focus on the Tornado, but might be the other Galante battleships. And as one of the primary goals, after I get those ships, it's going to be to get a Nestor that also has a very nice bonus on drones, and it has also very nice bonuses on remote armor repair that will be interesting to test out in fleets. So I think it will be very interesting to actually test out all of these ships. Okay, that thorax is now going down. If you wonder how I did repair my shield, I did lose internet connection and I had to dock to reset the phone, and of course the game did kind of glitch out. I couldn't lock on any enemy target, and well, once you dock, the ship gets fully repaired. That's why I have full shield here. Okay, let's see. 13 enemy ships are left. Now I'll approach one of the ships, since why not? I want to use the missiles on the ships. Okay, that Algos is going down very quickly. The next target will be that Vexor. Well, I have to admit, I am liking the prophecy more and more as I develop more fits for it. Very surprised how the ship performs, and of course I know that its performance can only increase as I increase my skills, and of course as I get more powerful modules, more powerful weapons. So this ship is going to be very interesting to fly. Makes me very curious to see how it will perform in tier 8s and of course tier 10s, but first I do want to fly tier 10s with my Covertops Arbitrator, because I do want to actually see how that will turn out. Okay, the next target is that Destroyer. I'm very close to these enemy ships and they are hitting me, but they are not doing too much damage for some reason. If, for example, this was my Covertops Arbitrator, they would be absolutely destroying that ship, which is very odd. This ship has a larger radius than the Covertops Arbitrator. For example, the Covertops Arbitrator has a 77 meter signature radius. This ship has a 320 meter signature radius, but they are somehow not hitting this ship, while they are absolutely destroying the Covertops. So that's a very interesting thing that's going on, which is very odd, but I guess there is a explanation for everything. And the last ship is left on the field. It is this Celestis. After that, I think I'll be looting the containers and finishing up with this storyline. I have to admit, I did have fun flying this ship in this storyline. It is a very good ship. I like it, and I will most likely convert this ship for full PvE very soon. Well then, I hope that you enjoyed. Again, this ship did perform quite well. Here you can see the fuel that I was using. I did use suspended plasma, I did use plasmids, and I did use heavy water. Well, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Stay safe, fly safe, and I will see you next time.